How dare you turn your back to me? YouTuber, you will remove your headset and tell me your name. My name is 1MannzOpinion, maker of dramatic video intros, user of a crappy mic, lover of 74 subscribers, owner of a YouTube channel, creator of 1MannzOpinion, and I will have a successful YouTube channel in this year or the next. What's up, everybody, and welcome to 1MannzOpinion. And today we're talking about Gladiator. Before we jump right into this one, I just want to say it's been a while since I've done just like a movie review. I did a trailer review. I've been doing WandaVision. I've done a lot of top 10s, and even back into December, I did some Christmas rankings and different stuff. I think if you don't count the way back, that was my last actual movie review, and that was like a month ago. It's been like 2 months or more since I've actually done a movie review, and I hadn't done one in a while. And I know WandaVision has come out with new episodes and stuff. I haven't updated that yet. I'm going to do it soon, but I just really wanted to sink my teeth into a good movie review. I hadn't done one in a while, so I was trying to decide like what movie I wanted to do, and there's not a whole lot of new stuff out right now, or at least not anything that I've seen. I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of stuff, so I decided I wanted to do an older movie, and I couldn't help it. I've been wanting to do Gladiator since I really started the channel. Gladiator has been one of my favorite movies since I saw it for the first time. I can remember where I was. I was at my grandparents' house when I first saw Gladiator. Gladiator had an awesome effect on me as an appreciator of stories, of movies. But before I get into all that, before I talk about it too much, I always start my movie reviews with the negative. Gladiator's a great movie. I know a lot of people really like Gladiator a lot, but I think maybe I like it more than most people, so might be a little bit of a bias here. It's hard for me to pick out many negatives with Gladiator. You're certainly not going to find any problem with the story. You're not going to find any problems with the acting, the camera work, the action. It's all there. It's all good. The drama is there. It's good. There is real heart to the story. There are sad moments. There are happy moments. There are moments that make you grin or laugh. There are moments that make you tear up. There are moments that make you angry. There are awkward moments. There's a whole plethora of emotions and a wide range of really good acting and storytelling in this movie, which is what you want from a good film. I guess if I had to like pick apart and really try to just imagine what someone's negative might be for this movie, I would say the opening of this film, it kind of has a slow start. It's kind of nitpicky, but it does kind of have a slow start. Rewatching the movie now, it takes a little bit longer to get to the real meat of the story than I had remembered. But even then, it's not even fair to say. We're so used to watching like Avengers movies or Star Wars movies or whatever. A lot of the things that come out nowadays are based on either old movies, comic books, and a lot of them have like source material. And so you can kind of get away with not diving into too much of an opener because the audience already is assumed to sort of know about the character or know about the story. This movie is standalone. It's not based on a series of books or graphic novels or an old TV series or anything like that. It's a standalone film. And I think if you asked me what my favorite movie was, I would never be able to tell you that because I love movies and there are so many great movies out there. It's impossible to narrow it down. But if you were to say, well, what's your favorite standalone film? Not something that fell into a franchise like Harry Potter or Indiana Jones or the Avengers or Star Wars or any of that stuff. Something that was just a standalone film, no prequels, no sequels, just a movie. Gladiator would be toward the top of that list. I'm not going to say outright that it would be number one, but off the top of my head, you got Tarantino movies that are really good like that are just kind of standalone films. There's a lot of older kind of movies that are standalone, but even a lot of those have been remade these days. So it's hard to say, but Gladiator would definitely be at the top of that list, and it earns respect because it's still an amazing story and had nothing really to pull from other than ancient Roman culture. which is something that Ridley Scott, the director, really dove into quite a bit. I guess what I'm trying to say is the one negative that you could give this movie is that maybe it has a slow start or a slow build. Isn't even really a negative. It's a necessary part of the storytelling process when there's nothing to pull from. And even though today we might be a little bit more used to a faster paced kind of film, that's not the way it always is, and it shouldn't be. I actually appreciate that it takes its time to set up the character. Who is Maximus? He's a war general. He's been leading this military for a long, long time, and every time he thinks he's about to go home, there's always one more thing that the Emperor asks of him. And so you understand his frustration, and then everything is taken away from him so fast. When it happens, it just happens and it's over. So as far as negatives go, I'm sorry. I can't come up with any good ones. Gladiator is an amazing film. It's filled with amazing acting and it's a great story. I never will forget, and look, I'm going to be talking about a few spoilers here for Gladiator, but I never will forget watching the ending of this film for the first time. And I was a little bit younger. This movie came out in 2000. I think probably the first time I saw this movie, I was probably in like the second or third grade. I remember watching the movie, and at the end, the triumphant hero finally defeats the bad guy, which is the way books and movies and things that I had watched my entire life had always gone. And yet he dies. The hero dies at the end. I think it might have been the first time that I, as a young kid, as a child, had seen that. I was so sad. I teared up. I was watching it with a lot of people at my grandparents' house. There were people everywhere. So I hid it. I didn't want anybody to see me crying over a movie. But I did. I teared up. It taught me something about storytelling. It taught me that sometimes the hero can win and still lose his life. And it was very powerful. There was nothing left. I understand as an adult now, there was nothing left for Maximus on this earth. His family was gone. He wanted nothing to do with ruling Rome or setting it up. He had done his job. He had done his duty. He had given Rome back to the people. He was happy to go. And that's powerful. That's powerful storytelling, and it's powerful for a young man who had never seen something like that before, which is, that's just part of my age. An older person might have seen that and not appreciated it as much because they had seen something similar before. So, that's to each his own. That's my bias for the film. Other than that, I kind of already said it, but I think the movie just has everything you could possibly want. It has an amazing director. It has great actors. I've mentioned the great acting. Russell Crowe in this movie is so good. He's amazing. And I think it might have been the first movie, not that I saw Russell Crowe in, but that I really was like, who is this actor? I can remember wanting to know who he was because it was such an emotional thing for me. As a young man, I was like, I need to know who this actor is. And it was one of the first times in my very young life where I was interested to find out who the actor was. I wanted to know more behind the scenes stuff about movies. And as I got older, knowing actors by their faces and knowing what movies they had been in and directors and stuff like that became an interesting hobby of mine. I love to know information about movies. But I think this was one of the first times where I was like, wow, that was so powerful. Who is this actor? And then later in life, as I watched the movie a couple more times, I was like, who is this? Who plays the Emperor? Joaquin Phoenix in this movie is astounding. Joaquin always plays like really awkward kind of characters, sometimes very creepy characters. And I don't know, even with like the Joker, I don't know if the Joker is as creepy as Commodus is. Actually, having those two in a room together would be like insanity. But Joaquin, he knocks it out of the park. And so I guess I've gone a long way around just to say that it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's such an enjoyable ride. If you haven't seen Gladiator, if you haven't given it a chance, you really need to go watch that movie sometime. It's really something else. The story is amazing. Ridley Scott tells such a great story, and it's not based on anything. He hired historians to help give him an accurate look at what Roman culture would have been like at the time. And so from that and some historical facts and a few, it's historical fiction. So some of the things that happen in the movie are accurate to time, or at least they happen, but maybe not exactly the way the movie portrays them. Ridley Scott does a really good job of kind of twisting history into this historical fictional story about a man who was at the very top of the Roman Empire as far as a military standpoint could go, and who was brought to the very low as a slave and competing in the gladiatorial arenas. And then to see his ascension, and they talk about it in the movie, how a gladiator defies an emperor and rises above an emperor of a country because he gets the crowd on his side, because he's such an entertainer and such an awesome combatant in the Colosseum that the crowd loves him, and the emperor can't touch him because he wants the people to like him too. It's a multifaceted film with great acting all throughout, and that's good enough for me. Listen, it's one of my all-time favorite films. I'm going to give it a rating now. I feel like there's so much more I want to talk about, but I don't want to make the movie too long. You get the picture of how I feel about the movie, and honestly, go watch the movie yourself. I'm giving The Gladiator, or actually, I think it's just Gladiator. I'm giving Gladiator a 99 overall. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I hate it. Go down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about Gladiator the first time you saw that movie. I want to hear what your emotions were. What were your emotions the first time you watched Gladiator? When he rides up and he sees his family burned and crucified there at his home. What were your emotions, when he finally got his hands on Commodus? That final fight scene, Commodus stabs him before the fight ever starts, and he's still able to power through that and just beat Commodus half to death. It's so awesome. I mean, man, even the dialogue of the film, that little opening bit that I did was a direct ripoff from the movie. I mean, there's just so much good here. There's so much good. But anyway, tell me your favorite parts. Tell me how it affected you, if emotionally, if at all, or what you thought about the film. Tell me what you thought about this review. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it ugly? Whatever you think, comment down below. Let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you disagreed what I had to say about Gladiator, don't get mad. Remember, it's just one man's opinion. Thanks.